Hello? Hi everyone. Is this working okay? Is everything the way it used to be? Hopefully it's all working and I'm live and the colours and everything are okay. Hi everyone. Have you missed me? I've missed you. Well, I've been here pre-recorded for months. It's been quite a while since I stream. Stuff's been happening. It's been weird. But hey, games are coming and we need to chat about them. I've missed chat. Hey Paul, your three games that are coming out in the next month are currently in your top 10 of all time. Which three would they be? I think I know. I think we'll be talking about all three of them. Well, actually, I wasn't going to talk about one, so I should probably get a tab open with that in it, actually. Because there's a couple of qualifiers. So talk about 25, but obviously, like, I've added to it already and gone over. And yeah, there's going to be so much that's not been announced yet, and that, like, I don't know very many secrets. I know a couple of secrets, but I don't know what year they're coming out. And I'm sure that I'm not allowed to say about them. But they'll be good as well. They'll be on there somewhere. Hey Derek, how's it going? Everyone, go and follow Kanji Studios. I've been dipping in and out of your Marvel United campaign, Derek. I started one over the new year with my wife. We played about 30 games of Marvel United in about a week. It's great. It's nice actually getting it out for a change as well, rather than just painting it and looking at it and trying to organise it in some way. It's such a good game. Maybe we'll be talking about some United stuff in a min. Probably only know about 8 games coming out. I try and keep a list, but I don't really. What I do is around the new year, like I've got a few games that I've got in mind, and I'll try and remember that one, and then I'll look at geek lists and stuff and remember. Oh yeah, that's coming out this year. Oh yeah, that's meant to be delivering. Yeah, there's a few things on here as well that like the Kickstarter said it was coming, or the Kickstarter said it was delivering 2 years ago, and looks like it's delivering this year. You never know, do you? And then there's the latest editions have been because the stream was supposed to be last week, but things have happened and pushed everything back. But Rado's I think he did 25 most anticipated, which there's a lot of crossover because we have a lot of crossover in interests. But there's a couple that he spotted that I hadn't heard of that have made some late additions. Yeah, I think we're getting some of these on. Is the music slower than usual? It's slow at the start, and then whenever it's the credits theme, it's sped up. I can't remember why that's the case, but it is. That's how it goes. I'm going to talk about loads of these. Right. Hi, Steve. How's it going? Hey, Sam. Hey, Jeff. Audio and video good? I'm just reading through the chat myself. Hey, Lynette. Hey, Melissa. Hey, James. Oh yeah, the because I'm not talking about because like one. So we'll start it now. One thing we'll say like I'm not really talking about expansions. Maybe I should have done a separate thing. There's only a few expansions that I remember. You say Mage Knight, big expansion. Not that I've really played any Marvel, not Marvel. We'll get on to Marvel stuff. I haven't played any Mage Knight expansion stuff. I never even managed to get the guarantee that I'm going to play Mage Knight often enough to remember all of the rules of it. It's there looking at me. We'll get to it at some point. But yeah, the one thing I'm really excited about is the South Tigris trilogy, getting all of its expansions and getting the overarching expansion with like a solo campaign. That'd be really cool. But shall I turn some stuff on? A Lovecraft game that's not the train one. Is it the Dream Escape one? Was that it? Right, let's turn my browser on. If it'll work. There it is. So, generally, well, the list was supposed to be a hard rule. Like, I'm not going to talk about things that I covered on Kickstarter and stuff. I'm excited for those. The fact that I did the video in the first place is that, and kind of, I did sponsored videos for those ones and that. I've made the window smaller. That's me moving it around distractedly. But something that, like, pretty much be my most anticipated thing if it wasn't like, it's a prototype, but it's here. It's there on the shelf. There's stuff on top of it. So I'm not going to present it to you right now. We've started doing a campaign of it on the channel. I've only done one thing of it. Not Fort, that's Hadrian's Wall. But yeah, sequel to Hadrian's Wall with all of the combo-y flip and fill goodness, but cranked up. More systems, more things, defending, attacking castles. It's so good. It's maybe like if you're not familiar with Hadrian's Wall at all, there's a lot more going on, but it is so good. It would probably, like, I'd be really shocked. Like, who knows? There's going to be some amazing games coming out this year, but I'd be shocked if this isn't in the top 10 of the year already. Big talk, but I think like pretty much my prototype is the finished thing. The solo book's changed, and I've got an updated one, but yeah, the Anarchy. And the other thing that I didn't put on the list, and I think is one, well, I know it is because Paul's mentioned it in chat, but that I forgot about because I've got it here, is Star Trek Captain's Chair, which is kind of, there are differences, but, you know, Star Trek, like 1 to 2 player game built off the Imperium systems, but you're going to worlds and stuff and expanding your crew and getting ships and that. There's differences. There is, like, what is there so far? There's a Patreon stream of me playing this game. There will be some more of it in the future. But yeah, there was some contention that I didn't mention this in the top 10 games of last year video, and that some games that I did mention in there weren't available to everybody. It's tough, right? Things come out at different times for everybody. But yeah, I know 100% that Captain's Chair is planned for release like soon, right? In the next month or so. It's like definitely, it even says on Board Game Geek now. I don't think it's said before. It's a 2025 game, so we'll talk about that later this year, I'm sure. We should play it together. Is it too mean, Paul? Would we be nice? There's not as mean stuff in it as there had been in like Attacky, in the original Attacky Imperium, which did get toned down with the trade stuff. 29th of Jan. But yeah, they are some, well, not late editions. I was going to talk about the Anarchy anyway, but I should talk about Captain's Chair because I would be anticipating it, but it's behind me on a shelf somewhere that you can't see because all the shelves are really messy, so we're in this triangular space. So, let's talk about the games then. And a lot of them, of course, they're not out yet, so there's varying amounts of information, and sometimes I'm just going to say, it's been designed by a person, and that's why it's on here. Speaking of that, let's go for Misfit Heroes, and we'll see some adverts and stuff because this isn't my proper browser. Hey, you could go to Tokyo to Seattle if you want. Why not? Sounds good. Misfit Heroes. I saw kind of a glimpse of this at Essen, but not really a full sense of what it is. But it is card crafting, which AEG have taken in many different directions, but all, I think, from designer John D. Clare, who like originated it, right? And has done like Dead Reckoning and Edge of Darkness and Mystic Vale. Started it all right. I'm remembering history properly, I think. But this is card crafting from Phil Walker Harding, who has done a massive laundry list of amazing games. Let me get this out of the way so I can see the chat. And yeah, it's just like his take on it, and you are forming kind of not completely Pokemon, but you are forming like the abilities on your cards will be formed by like putting your stuff in the sleeves and doing the card crafting and stuff. And I didn't get much of an idea of it with the little bits that they had on a table at Essen, but it seems cool. I think I would be too peaceful multiplayer, Paul. I'd have to do a good old-fashioned several people play solo stream. Burning the most complex deck. I think, yeah, I've only had games. Have I only done Picard, or did I do one more deck? I think I tried a couple. Definitely Picard, because he's recommended as the starting one. And I've seen things with Picard in. I haven't seen things with a lot of the others in. But hey, I appreciate the rare references that I pick up on. They're really cool. Next up, Everdell Duo. I enjoyed Everdell. It was pretty cool. Like work placement and tableau building, the positions of your little critters made a difference and stuff for the powers that they activate. And pretty much like if it's not solo, I'm playing it 2-player pretty much. But the thing that's on this is not just, oh, they made a two-player version of stuff, which I am interested in a lot of the time, but even more than, oh, they've made a two-player only version of it, which is compatible solo still. The even bigger thing is, oh, you have made a game cooperative. That's kind of perfect then, especially as all like multiplayer things shift more and more to just playing co-ops because it's better, it's more fun. Tend to like, especially for the heavier things and for a lot of the competitive things, I play them solo more these days. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how like it's been adapted, but also how it's been made cooperative and how well that'll work. Yes, please like and subscribe, everybody. Next up, Rebuild in Chicago, which I only know is like it's a sequel to Rebuild in Seattle, which was fantastic. It was a great polyomino lay-in game where you had a kind of mix between drafting these cards. I did a playthrough for Rebuild in Seattle, but drafting these cards that allowed you to pick up the polyomino pieces and stuff and give you more and more kind of income or points generating stuff. But balanced out with these events, you could either get a card that would let you put a new tile down, or you could trigger an event that would reward you for having placed all of these particular tiles. And it's always the kind of push and pull of, well, I want to wait to trigger the event until I've got all these tiles on. But if someone else triggers it first, I'm not going to have drafted the right tiles in the right place. It worked brilliantly. There's another one. I don't really know like the particular differences of this, but I trust them. And yeah, WizKids have been putting out some pretty amazing stuff in the last... It's been years now, hasn't it? But yeah, trust stuff from WizKids. They're putting out some good stuff. And Everdell impossible to play because the card text is so tiny. I have to say, like, I haven't played Everdell for quite a few years now, so I can't remember. Hopefully, they boost it all. It only needs 2 players. You can boost it up now. You boost the size of everything up. We don't need room for all those other player boards. Next up is Point Galaxy, which is a new one in the kind of loose series, but a series nonetheless of Point Salad, and which I don't think I've done a playthrough of yet, but played tons of Point Salad. A lovely filler game, like really easy to get to grips with as well. And there's an EV version of it if you're willing to pay over the odds and import one. And then Point City turned that into a bit more of a spatial puzzle, still in the way that you draft the cards. You had to draft like adjacent ones, and it either got you resources in your hand, or you could build you could construct buildings in your city from it. And it's a similar thing with Point Galaxy, but we are in space, we are taking things bigger, and it's just more from the same people. The flat out like collab team, like there are like designers that you can see credited on there, but it's like a whole collab team that's work on like the art and the rules and the graphic design and the development of the game together. And that's been going since like Calico, was that the first one in there? They've done tons together. It's a brilliant team. And that's Point Galaxy. Rebuild Seattle is amazing. Next up, Valencia. Because I've heard good things about Strasbourg. I love Stephan Feld games, really. But when Stephan Feld makes games that are for more than 2 players, I have immediately clicked off them and disregarded them because that's no good to me. To be fair, it's an auction game, Strasbourg, and Valencia is as well, the adaptation of it. But as part of the new city collection, I'm sure loads of other things have been tweaked and added to it. The big thing that I'm bothered about, well, art by the Miko, pretty cool too. But the big thing that Valencia's got going for it is that it's got a 2-player variant, which, like, not only it's like Stephan Feld's designed a completely new game as far as I'm concerned, because I have no concept of Strasbourg, so Valencia will be a completely new thing for me. So a new Stephan Feld game in 2025. Next up is Stone Saga. So this is from Open Owl Studios, who are it's not the same designers, but the same publisher that did Mythwind. But it is cooperative, but it's a survival crafting legacy kind of game. And that is like, we haven't played a legacy game for quite a while now. Can't even remember which one, like a full-on, like, tear things up permanent thing. I don't know if it is resettable in this, but the few that we ended up playing, like I'm thinking Charterstone, there were a few like competitive ones that kind of burned us out on the whole thing and thought like kind of point discrepancies and development discrepancies over the course of like a huge legacy thing made these competitive ones just like not work for us. And with at least a few of the campaigns, it got to the point where like you're kind of playing out this thing just so that we can finish this legacy box, because nobody can use it once we've started anyway. But it's kind of the writing's been on the wall that there is no competition left in this thing. Whereas the ones that have really, really worked for us, well, the kind of like the pinnacle of it and the introduction to it for, I imagine, a lot of people, but for us was with Pandemic Legacy, which did it so perfectly, but also like a lot of the permanents worked so well because you're all in it together. So you got a reward for doing well. Fantastic. That's going to benefit us all. The world just got worse because you messed up. We're all in it together, so we're all going to have to roll with that. So I think this is going to come up later as well with a different game. But yeah, I'm much more interested in cooperative Legacy. And it's got, like, not that I've played these games, but, like, pretty well-regarded pedigree of designers. From Max Brick from Star Wars X-Wing, Luke Eddy from Star Wars Legion. Not my kind of games, but hey, they're pretty well regarded by people that like those things. And they're going in some survival crafting co-op stuff. And while like Mythwind ultimately didn't work for us as a two-player or a solo game, actually, I really like the doing something very different and making this kind of cozy, go at your own pace kind of game. And while that didn't ultimately work for us, I'm really keen on them doing like some more wildly different things. Points getting as bad as Span. There's only 3 of them. It's all right. They've got, well, started out with just salads. Now it's cities. Now it's galaxies. Where will they go from there? I'm up for more. We can talk about Span later. It's coming up. I'm up for everything Span. Where am I next? I've lost track of my tabs. We talked about Stone Saga. Dungeons and Dragons. Builders of Baldur's Gate. We're back onto WizKids. That's got a nice rhythm of saying it. Dungeons and Dragons. Builders of Baldur's Gate. So yeah, we're back on WizKids doing Euro things, but also designer Matthew Dunstan, who, like, we say, like, oh, I've done great things working with Brett Gilbert, but has designed so many things kind of separately and in other partnerships. All of the Postmark stuff that Matthew and Rory do is amazing as well. This is a city building game. Hey, can sense a theme of Euro things that I like, where you're building up, you know, like that Dungeons and Dragons place. But you represent like different families and the cards that you like. There's goals that we are reaching for. Like you are. Let's see one of these pictures over here. You're getting attacked by various creatures. You're building stuff up. Like they're the different like families and things that we can play. Like the special abilities that you can get throughout there. But yeah, mainly Matthew Dunstan's doing a thing. That's headline number 1. But Paul helped write the rulebook for it as well. You've been having to keep it secret for over a year? Well, just tell us all then, Paul. Don't keep secrets from us. No one will tell. It'll all just be contained in this chat. Everyone promise right now. Paul, tell us the biggest secret that you know about board games. And then about anything. Next up, Great Western Trail. But what if it's Great Western Trail but littler? I've played a lot of the. I think there's one in the series that I'm missing. Maybe it was the last one. Is it New Zealand I haven't done? I really enjoy Great Western Trail. I really like the different versions of it. The thing that we don't really like is love the kind of deck building, love the like choosing the path, how far you're going to go, constructing your own little things through it. The only thing that has kind of put us off, like it's played it more as a solo game, but the only thing we don't like multiplayer is the hand stuff, putting down the buildings with hands, putting these hazards down to make other people pay more stuff. Not interested in that. Could work perfectly well without any of that, but it persists through all of them. Uh, I don't know if this is going to change that in any way, but one of the big things that it changes is it takes it down to 60 to 90-minute playing time, which I'm all for. It's not like a hugely long game, but it's on BGA as an alpha right now. Breaking news. I'll have to get on that then. It's on Board Game Arena, everyone. You can try it out. And maybe it'll shoot up or down the list. Just tell us all of the secrets, Paul. Yes, so Fast Great Western Trail. It'd be great. Next up, Coming of Age. So, kind of like, there's two streams crossing. Number one is Danny Garcia has designed a new game. That's instantly goes on the anticipated list. But also, I feel like there hasn't been one of these for a while. Like, in the kind of loose vein of these tell your life story kind of games that's... I say that like there's been a billion of them, but like CV and Pursuit of Happiness have been things that have kind of permanently stuck around in the collection for like telling a big story of a life. So starting out as a child, you'll have a limited set of interests and skills determine your development. During this time, your parents' help will be important for your progress. As the years go by, you will grow and acquire new interests, gain more independence, and access to other experiences that will allow you to achieve your life's goals. It's basically making a story of a life like those other games, and the story that you end up building up throughout those games is why we like them so much. And Danny Garcia has designed pretty amazing things over the last few years, whereas like probably the biggest, like Barcelona, maybe Windmill Valley, but yeah, has gone on a tear in the last like 2 or 3 years, right? Arboria was an amazing one. Yeah, Arboria, Barcelona, Windmill Valley. I haven't played Daitoshi, but I hear great things. And then, yeah, I never managed to get a copy of Nico Syndicate from Essen, but hey, we'll get to it at some point. Crime Board, hey, hot off the presses. Upcoming games I haven't seen about. These haven't got pages yet. I'm interested in Crime Board. I'm interested in them all, really. But Crime Board, Mystery Book, Chronological. I'll do some logic puzzles, Danny. But yeah, I'm into that. And it's like a faster playing thing as well, like 40 to 80 minutes. That's why it's put me in mind of CV as well. I keep like CV is right in my eye line too. We haven't played CV for years and years and years. Hopefully we still like it. I remember loving it. Next is a game that I said like maybe it'll deliver this year. It's a bit late, but that's how crowdfunding goes. I have backed and I'm excited about, and do you wonder what I'm excited about? RoboMon, kind of going out on a limb and trusting, being interested in a concept that is, hey, heavily inspired by a popular series of video games, and really taking that kind of aesthetic and building a party of RoboMons, exploring a world, doing puzzles and things. Enough badges to become a fully licensed RoboMon Ranger and win the game. So it's like you can play it 1 to 2 players, like go over a like big world and stuff, solve puzzles, build up your team and that. I think it's one of those that there's at least another one later in this list where I'm like, will this deliver this year? Maybe it'll end up being one of those Freedom 5 things where I keep banging on about it at the start of every year. I probably talked about this in the most anticipated last year, to be honest. But yeah, maybe, hopefully, we'll enjoy it more than Freedom 5, which I enjoyed, but nowhere near as much as I was hoping to enjoy it, unfortunately. Yeah, it's one of those where, like, every now and then the update seems like, oh yeah, it's... The timeline's going to be this, and it's all fine. But then the other updates will be, hey, I just finished this particular thing, and suddenly it doesn't seem like it's that far along again. But hey, gotta trust the process, right? I'm in. Next up is Moon Colony Bloodbath, which, actually, I'll probably put this on the list just for the kind of concept and the kind of Fallout style, futuristic 50s kind of art. But it's the main thing is that it is a game from RoboMon would be really good. It's a game from Donald X Vaccarino, who is the designer of, amongst other things, Dominion, the deck builder. Hey, it's not my, I wouldn't say it's my favorite anymore. Hey, co-op and stuff, but it's kind of a permanent in the collection and still one of the best. It's done loads of other stuff. Hey, this is just a big list of Dominion now, but like Kingdom Builder is amazing. I don't care what anybody says. Hopefully, has popular opinion swayed back towards Kingdom Builder? It's amazing. Don't listen to people that say you haven't got any decisions. They don't know how to play it properly. Kingdom Builder's great. Or Winter... It wasn't Winter Gardens. Was it called Winter Kingdom, the other one? Winter Kingdom, yeah. Temporum I quite liked. But yeah, he's done other things as well. But the big thing is Dominion. And this does involve some deck building, but it's like a deck that's shared between everybody. You don't need no house rules, Paul. What house rule do you do? Kingdom Builder is amazing. You don't need any choice. You don't need a hand of cards. You just need to be better at Kingdom Builder. I'm probably not particularly good at Kingdom Builder. I have not managed to convince, I don't think, anybody I've ever played Kingdom Builder with that it's amazing. But that will change one day. Where was I? Oh yeah, there's a shared deck. There's a... We're doing a moon colony out on the moon, as you might imagine, and something's going to go wrong. So it's an engine building, engine losing tableau game with a shared deck the players build that make things happen. Many of them bad things that will kill your people, but some of them positive and let you build up. Each turn, one card's revealed from the shared deck, which starts with 4 work cards, 2 trouble cards, and 2 twists. For work, everyone takes an action, money for money, farming for food, research for cards, build a new building, or restock boxes. Twists vary from one game to the next. Trouble adds a new event card to the deck. Hunger, paperwork, glitches, accidents, leaks, power failure, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Then whenever the deck's shuffled, you can prepare for them all again. Players can add cards to the shared deck too, whether they're perks that are only for you or developments that affect everybody, until one player's colony has no people remaining or players reach the bottom of the event deck. The way that it's kind of phrased and stuff here, maybe like these bad things that we're putting into the shared deck, it's not something you're directly doing to other people, but I wonder if that's going to end up being too interactive for us. But hey, I'm up for it. Kingdom Builder can really get me worked up. If you draw the same card you just had, you may draw a different one. Yeah, you can end up getting stuck in a rut of the same kind of terrain. I'll give you that, Paul. I've never tried that, but it's so good. Don't let the haters put you off. Not you, Paul. I know you're not one of them. You've played it, but so much goes around that Kingdom Builder isn't good and there's no choice and stuff in it. There is so much choice. You just have to give yourself that choice by where you decide to place things, and go for powers that will let you, like, they can't be in every game, but go for powers that will let you leave gaps or choose different terrains and be spread around in the board. Maybe the scoring cards aren't going to want that. Let's talk about the game that I've got on here. Legendary is out here. Legendary, I don't think you like Legendary, do you, Paul? Legendary is amazing and one of our favourite deck builders, even though there is a kind of card river and stuff that you buy from, is not my favourite way of displaying cards in a deck builder, but Legendary overcomes that kind of by having Marvel stuff and doing it so well. Legendary is so good, Paul. We loved it way back when and got everything for it, and kind of the way the expansions built up, and especially like some that we didn't really like the Guardians of the Galaxy expansion, still not massive on. But yeah, it ended up getting so kind of big and difficult that and took up so much space, we got rid of it at some point. And then it was kind of, I think it was around this time last year that, like, I'd bought a copy at the Expo a couple of years ago, just off somebody, thinking, oh, maybe I'll give that a try again. It was about this time last year that me and Rach got into Marvel United, that had been hanging around for a couple of years, unplayed, because I got it really cheap, and then Legendary at the same time, and I'd gotten, in like a Christmas deal, I'd gotten a subscription to Marvel Unlimited and read, I need to get back to that, but read hundreds of comics, like in the kind of first half of last year. So good. So much Krakoa X-Men was red. And then old stuff as well. Yes, Legendary is an incredible deck building game, an incredible cooperative game, and there is so much of it, it's unreal. But always, even way, way back when, for Legendary, everyone has always said, you not that great on its own, just as the base game. You have always needed like the Dark City expansion to all the expansions add variety and stuff to it, but to add more challenge to it. Like the base heroes aren't very interesting, the base enemies aren't very interesting, the masterminds and the villains and stuff as well. Every expansion and like so they've gone back and changed it basically. The original base box is coming out again, and things have been tweaked. I think there's like a new person included now that wasn't in it originally, or maybe it's a new like mastermind. There's something new in, but also they've gone back and rebalanced like some heroes and things. One of the limitations of the original base version was that so like if you had like Spider-Man, the hero, all of his cards had the same art, and like Wolverine's cards, all the same art. Whereas every set since then, each different card itself has different art on it, like completely unique. But yeah, there's like 4 or 5 different pieces of art for each hero in every expansion since the base game. So they are going back to the base game and in the second edition doing that to it. So yeah, it's you can still just play Legendary with your base stuff. Like it's going to come with a load of the agents and officers and stuff that we don't need, but like I want to update it and fit it all in again. And yeah, I'd like, because it's always like whenever we play Legendary, we just like plug in like all of the stuff, get a randomizer on there, and it is always like when someone from the base game comes out, like when it puts you against Doctor Doom or something, or like a couple of the base game heroes come out, it's thinking maybe we'll swap them out for something from an expansion. So it'd be nice like to have everything kind of gel in together. Yeah, it's completely compatible with all of the old stuff. Like it's not like massively. I don't think they're going back and completely changing rules and things like that. Like there's been a few tweaks of the rules over the years. I think mainly like a new solo mode that was introduced in, is it the What If box? It's like stuff like that I expect will be ported in, but I think generally the rules haven't massively changed. But yeah, it's they'd just be more available as well and nicer looking. I think I have, apart from villains, which I don't want villains. Like villains works like you play as the baddies and fight against the goodies in villains. Like it combines with the base game too, and I think you can technically combine with the Legendary Encounters games and stuff. Some aren't Legendary Encounters, right? But I never really want to do that. Like, I've got, I haven't played too much of it, but I've played a couple of games of the Legendary Matrix. That's really good, and really good at like taking that system, but making it feel like you're playing through the films. I was really surprised at how well it did that. And I've bought Legendary X-Files, because me and Rach watched a ton of X-Files and until it started getting to a bit of a slog towards the end of it. But I bought that because we love Legendary and we've been watching a load of the X-Files, and as I was opening it up, I saw a massive spoiler in Scully's deck that Rach doesn't know about yet, because Rach has never seen the X-Files before it. So we need to get to that point at some point. And Marvel Champions is very different. So like Legendary is one where you are like a more Dominion style deck builder, where you will start with a rubbish deck and over the course of the game purchase cards to build it up, rather than like Marvel Champions, you like pre-build, you build the deck before you start playing. It's like, I love Marvel Champions, but I am kind of like, and I've got Marvel Champions as well, but I'm rubbish at building decks and completely uninterested in it. I'm glad that there are websites where people have built decks, because otherwise I'd never do it. Who'd have thought I'd go on about Legendary the most? I love Legendary though, and yeah, I'm just glad that it won't be a drag when Magneto. It should be scary when Magneto comes out, not like, oh, it's just going to be this is going to be a more basic game then. But yeah, legendary. It's gonna be good. And Weapon X at some point. Upper Deck, start making things more available in England. I know the world's rubbish to ship things around these days, but I don't think 2099 is even out in England yet. I can't keep going to America just for legendary expansions. Weapon X is out in America. I can't get it here. One day. I'll get my hands on it. It's not like I've played loads of 2099 at this point. But I want them all. It's all so neatly organised. It's in drawers, Paul. I've got cards in drawers. It's great. Sitting next to the Marvel United stuff. Next up. Hey, I said we were going to talk about spans. Finspan. I'm excited about Finspan. I'm just kind of grimacing at the low quality attempts at humour that come out on Facebook that happened with Wormspan as well. They're like, hey, I think it's fair enough to not be a fan of things and be sick of stuff, but I really like Wingspan. And as it turns out, hey, Wormspan had a really cool designer involved and was a different thing, and as far as I'm concerned, is better than Wingspan. It's very similar, like built off the same system, but it adds like the habitats and stuff that you got to build. So this is like, hey, it's Finspan. It's the Wingspan system with fish now, but it's like faster playing and simplified, and it has fish. That's what I know. Oh, there's not a big description on it anyway, but yeah, I'm generally, I think in a lot of cases, I want for Stonemaier stuff, and hopefully we'll be doing a playthrough of it at some point. I've got no like particular like fish. I don't really know anything. Like I'm not particularly bothered about. I don't know. I'm not bothered about birds. I don't know anything about them, but I enjoyed Wingspan. Hey, dragons, strangely most excited about. But yeah, I'm up for more things. Keep doing more spans. Like it's all of the kind of, I wouldn't say outrage, all of the posts and stuff that come from it. It's got to be all publicity is good publicity, right? Have a good one, Paul. Have they made Puerto Rico nice now? Vantage might be coming up, Paul. I think Vantage is in like the top 3 or something like that. We'll be coming back to Stonemaier. But yeah, Finspan, it's coming out this month, I think, as well. It's just coming out very, very soon. Next, Raas, A Dance of Love. I've forgotten how to pronounce it since Essen. I played a game of this with Mihir, one of the designers, and talked about it at great length in that post Essen video. But basically, we are simulating these like these dances where we've got a picture of like here we go. Here's in Essen itself with the more recent prototype. So we are simulating attending these dances. There we go. Where will my finger stay on the screen? Just about here. So we have all of these interlocking wheels, and on your turn you have got a hand of cards that have different letters on them. You see all of the outer wheels have got letters on, and they say like where you're sitting on the table will be the position. Like you'll be sat next to a colour. That'll be the colour you're allowed to pick from. The letter of the card you play is the wheel that you're allowed to get it from. And you will be drafting dice from these cards. And particular bonuses of the colour on the outside will give you like these dancing sticks, or these let you upgrade these outfits and things, and they will accumulate more and more points. I realise now I'm trying to remember it all properly from like a few months ago. It feels like it was ages. There is also a thing of if you get matching colours in the dice that are next to each other, or the same number, like they either mean that like you're dancing at the same tempo or you're dancing the same style as someone else, and you get a bonus at the top of your board. Everyone's a bit different. There's also like a tempo of the dance for each of the 3 rounds, and if you draft a die of that number, you get a bonus. There's also a more advanced way of playing that involves this central wheel that I don't remember all the things about right now. Go back to that Essen video where I was fully more informed. But yeah, I played a sample game of it. It plays so quickly. There is so much to think about. just in this like drafting of a die, but how it fits into your board, how it meets the goals that are like out for everyone, the goals that are on your personal player board, and the theme of it comes out so well. It's so good. Oh, and so Mahir is one of the co-designers. So I credit everybody. Get my Firefox back. There's Mahir and Charlene, who are the designers of Viticulture World, the co-op expansion for Viticulture that was so good. Hey, making fantastic Euros co-op. Let's see more of that. But yeah, this is going to be a great one coming. I think it's planned for like Gen Con, something like that, summertime. It was a pretty kind of final prototype, I think. It was so good. Mark my words, look out for it. Right, next up. Maybe the highest entry for something I know so little about. Severton. So it's based on a comic book and novel series, The Rapid Arrows. Why is it on here, though? A cooperative game. That already piqued my interest. But it is designed by Vlaada Chvátil, who has designed some of the best things, but has also not designed games for quite a while. And has he designed a co-op before? There's co-op code names, but that's designed by someone else, right? Building off of code names. I think this might be like a complete first, right? Like, Vlaada, if you're unfamiliar, has designed so many, like, such a breadth of different things, but so many amazing things. Like, Through the Ages, Galaxy Trucker, Space Alert, Dungeon Pets. So good. Check out Dungeon Pets if you haven't. Mage Knight, all the way to, like, party-style things like Pictomania, which is one of the best party games, and Codenames, which I think is, like, that's pretty much the standard of party games now, right? That's the last thing that he designed, I think. There's like going back for a second edition of Pictomania. There's people that have done versions like Star Trek Frontiers is a version of Mage Knight, and Duet is built off of Codenames, so he's co-designer on that. But I think, yeah, 2016, 2015 for Codenames. So it has been 10 years since a completely new Vlaada game. And it happens to be a co-op. If you're familiar with that comic series, maybe you'll be even more excited about that setting. Published by Albie, who did Tea Garden last year as well. But yeah, mainly anything new by Vlaada, and it's a co-op game. I think it's worth watching. Next up is Speakeasy. Not just because anytime Vital Lacerda does anything, that's worth being a massive exclamation mark on the calendar. But I really like the theme, the 20s. I was going to say Speakeasy. Well, obviously Speakeasy. That's the name of the game. But Prohibition. That's the word that I'm looking for. And it's a more accessible system as well. Not that like most Vital Lacerda games, I'm fine with. I can crack into that loop. No matter how long it takes me. Some things like On Mars and things are on the kind of heavier end of my limits, like just beyond the it's getting a little bit too much for me. But Speakeasy, it apparently like simplifies that a bit. Like you're choosing actions from the top of a board. That isn't the top of the board, but these are everyone's player boards. You can see where these workers are placed at the top of this screen. I'm pointing to a window that you're not looking at, so I'm not pointing to the right place. Like you're building buildings, you're getting potentially ransacked by rival gangs that aren't the other players. You can see where they're going to come on, and they might rob you or destroy your stuff. But you're trying to build up those, avoid the police, all of that lovely stuff. I've heard great things. I do have a prototype of it. I haven't played it yet, but I'm very, very excited to dip into that. I don't know if I'll make anything for it. Who knows what'll come of that. But yeah, anything from Vital is worth a massive watch because it's one of my favourite designers. A Mage Knight expansion. Is the Mage Knight expansion like with, I imagine, is it with someone else? Is it just Vlaada again? Oh, Phil Pettifer, who designed with Paul, right? There's a hero they designed and an expansion they designed together, I think. If I'm remembering that properly. Yeah, didn't they design Krang together and Shades of Tesla? Yeah, there we go. Paul and Phil. Yeah, designed those two together. And Phil has designed the big, I think it's a pretty hefty expansion, right? The Apocalypse Dragon for Mage Knight, which would be one to watch as well. Where was I? Yeah, Dungeon Pets is incredible. So like I've done a few things about Dungeon Pets. Like there is, you can say that about loads of Vlaada's games too. Like even ones that ultimately like didn't work so much for us. Like I think like Through the Ages, I love in the app. Like I'm not really interested in playing it with people. I don't like the negative events and stuff in it. Tash Kalar is like one-on-one combat, but done in such a cool puzzly way. You're trying to put your pieces out and make these patterns out of things, but ultimately it is a fighting each other combat game that never ends up working for us. But they are, as I say, it's like he's got such a breadth of doing massively different things and like truly like different and original things as well. Like Pictomania, just to go back to like the party-ish games, Pictomania is so good and so strange, and there is like a second edition that makes it a little bit easier to play. I really like the first edition for like how crazy it is that you get given like it's a drawing game where like there's all these cards out against these symbols. You are given a symbol and a number that says what you're drawing, so you're drawing that in secret, and at the same time you've got to look at everybody else drawing stuff and try and infer that from what they're drawing and what the possibilities are on this board, you've got to use your things to guess what they're drawing at the same time that you're drawing. And you can't just like do a rubbish quick drawing and go and spend all your time guessing everybody else's, because if people don't guess yours then you get penalized. It is so good. Dungeon Pets, like we're going off 2025 and going back to all of the years now, but in case you aren't aware of these things, they're so good. Galaxy Trucker and there's a new edition of Galaxy Trucker now. You are in real time drafting these tiles that are going to be components for your spaceship, and then after the real-time bit and we've all built the stuff, there is a prolonged like scoring section where you actually go through the events that your spaceship encountered, and you might pick stuff up, but generally your stuff will get destroyed, your crew will die, and your ship will completely fall apart. Space Alert is a real-time like ship, I say maintenance, like a ship adventure. Like again, you are on this ship, but together this time, and you're playing against a soundtrack. It's I think I've already said it's in real time, but yeah, events are coming at you. You've got to manage all of this stuff. You've got to manage all the different departments and work together. I think the thing for Space Alert, for us at least, and it's been quite a while since I played Space Alert, we wanted more players. As to two players, we didn't enjoy it as much as I think we could. Dungeon Lords is really cool as well, like being it's like Dungeon Keeper, the video game, where you are trying to build the perfect dungeon to stop adventurers coming in and stealing all of your stuff, and you need these imps to help you out. And then as a kind of sequel to that, but the gameplay is nothing like it, there is Dungeon Pets, where you play as a dungeon pet shop owner that is breeding these dungeon pets for the Dungeon Lords. And it is so cool. Hey, Paul posted this photo. The dungeon pets grow, and you need to draw these different coloured need cards that are going to be like magic that they will do to try and break out, or they'll get violent, or they'll want to play, and you need to meet all of their needs and stuff. It's like really, really complex, like Tamagotchis, but all at once and in a heavy euro and stuff. It is so good. Yeah, Vlaada has designed some amazing things. Harris, how's it going? Oh, don't worry about missing the start. There are still a few things left. Oh my god, how slow have I been going? I think we've not been going that long. There's just more games than I thought left. But hey, so good ones. But if you're not familiar with Vlaada's stuff, there is such a breadth of different things. Space Alert has an app where you can fully randomize it and use Star Trek sounds. Oh, cool. Yeah, Galaxy Trucker, you need to play it as a... It's not a party game, but you need to have a bit of a silly time with it. Like, because it's real time, you are gonna mess up. And some, like, one thing, we've had some, like, not so good times introducing it to new people, and I think ultimately it has gone now, because of space, unfortunately. But one thing we missed, like, we played it with someone and, like, they did the building of the stuff for your first time, like, did it badly, and then their ship just got destroyed and nothing happened. one thing that we realized after we'd done that is that it recommends in the rulebook that if someone is playing for the first time and you're really experienced, why not like do the real-time stuff, and then after they've finished that, really experienced person, give your ship to the person that's brand new, and then they get to actually experience the scoring bit in full, rather than they're brand new, they made mistakes, and their ship just falls apart and they get nothing. Like if that happens to you, you're experienced and you've had good times with the game. Give them a chance to enjoy like what the game's going to be like when they know how to build ships. How do I go into this? Yeah, this is going to be the 5-hour stream. I think we're about halfway, right? How many games have I talked about? Well, there's meant to be like 25 from 2025, but then we went back through all of Vlaada's back catalogue. But it's worth looking because like I don't know, like I don't know generally like how these things are getting put across to like people getting into stuff now. Because it's been a while. How long has it been? Something like 12 years or something that we've been playing games. It's a long time, isn't it? But yeah, check out Vlaada's stuff if you haven't already. Let's get on to a new thing. I said we were going to talk more United. Me and Rach have played so much Marvel United through last year as well, but we have been playing loads of. If you've got Marvel United stuff, especially if you've gone a bit overboard and got tons of it, then you can. Dom is the user in the Bugging Geek forums, has made a campaign that links it all together and encourages you to play this ridiculous collection of stuff that you've built up. Yeah, it works so well and has got us playing a load of a big variety of heroes and villains from our stuff. Hey, did you like United? Would you like DC people to be in it? Yeah, I would actually. They had another enormous Kickstarter full of bells and whistles and things. I will say, like, nothing against DC, but it's never grabbed me as much. Apart from, as I think, like, the most accessible thing or the most liked thing, Batman. I'm pretty into Batman stuff. Hopefully there'll be like a Batman Forever box, right? I think that's what the expansions are. It's Batman Forever, Batman Robin, Batman 66. Those should be the expansion boxes. But yeah, it's all compatible, like cross-compatible, and will work together and stuff. It's built off the basic United system of like you've got these cards with symbols at the bottom. Can we see an example of a card? Kind of in this picture. Yeah, you play cards with these symbols at the bottom. You might have some text that benefits you on your turn. You play the card. It's going to be punching things, moving around, doing heroic actions. But next time, when the next player goes, they get to play their card and use their symbols and stuff, but they also get the cards on the bottom. They also get the symbols on the bottom of the previous card played. So you're making this timeline of stuff, and yeah, trying to figure out what's going to be good for you to play, but also will benefit the next person along while trying to deal with the particular villain's quirks and things. But since it's another example of like the basic United stuff. It's fantastic and establishes that system, and some of the expansions and things do really cool things, like there's a Sinister Six expansion where you play against them all at the same time. We did that the other week. It was so good. But yeah, like base box and some base expansions of the original Marvel United are a bit simple compared to things they did later, and maybe some of those heroes and things don't stack up to like the harder villains that they came up with for X-Men and then for Multiverse. But as they were kind of building up more interesting things, where was that sentence going? As they went on, they did more interesting and more complex things with it, while still being an accessible, fast-playing game. So yeah, DC will build off that gameplay-wise, I imagine. And depending on how into Marvel are you? Are you bothered about all of these different characters that are in these stretch goal boxes and stuff? Yes, not all of those characters. Some of them are baffling and unknown to me, but some of them I'm desperate for. DC is like that as well. I bet like what is there's no just link, is there, to say here's all of the stuff that it came with. People probably did videos about that. A buying guide. Will that put all of the things in it. So there's a base box. Hey, Arkham Asylum, it's got Batman people in it. I know those people. Hey, Gotham City, more Batman stuff. I saw Bane. Suicide Squad. Teen Titans, kind of know them. We're teetering over minor knowledge now. Justice Society of America. I don't know them. War of Light. Green Lantern Corps. Metropolis. Hey, there's seen a bit of Superman stuff. And then like all your extras, team decks and stuff, sidekicks, pets. Like that's a multiverse thing I haven't tried yet, that you can include pets and stuff in there. There's so much stuff. And like I'm sure a stretch goals box with 100 characters that maybe I've vaguely heard of some. It's kind of one that, yeah, I know more of the Batman people. I'm excited about those, but maybe it'll lead to reading a load of DC stuff. I did have a trial. I didn't keep it up just because like I wasn't reading enough of it, but I had a trial of what's the DC one called? The DC Read Comics digitally thing. I read a load of Batman things. I enjoyed that, but ultimately my attention went to reading a load of X-Men stuff. I never go overboard. I haven't spent a ridiculous amount of time and money and got rid of games that I really liked to make space for getting loads and loads of Marvel United things. That totally didn't happen. But yeah, if you're a DC person, this is the thing that you've been waiting for. Hey, that United game that people really like, it's got like 100, probably it's like 250 something in the Marvel expansions. It'll have like 200 plus characters from DC that you can enjoy. Right, next up, LA1. This is from designer Richard Launius, who has done a load of things over his big gaming career. Did Freedom 5 last year with the Sadler brothers. But the big beacon for me, anyway, is Arkham Horror 2nd Edition. And Taran is the designer of Helionox. I'm remembering that right. A load of things. Oh, Brew as well. Hey, I did a video for Brew, right? That was really cool. But yeah, Helionox, fantastic deck builder that then went co-op and was really cool too. But that's all other stuff. What is LA1? It is a cooperative detective game in a cyberpunk future where you will be on a case. I don't know if there's a picture of like various cases and stuff. No. But you will be on a case in this city. And it is like an encounter-based game. You'll go to a location, you'll draw encounter cards, they will like be connected to a story. But I was talking to someone at the publishers in SNET that you will go to like, it will tell you to draw a particular card in the story, and there will be loads of that numbered card, so it will send you down different avenues, even though you're playing the same overarching story in this. I am really up for encounter-based stuff. I think that's Rach coming home. I think like Freedom 5 wasn't going for that, but I think that's the kind of key that's, hey, I don't mind roll to resolve stuff and more random things. In fact, in recent years, that some of the best times I've had gaming have been like rediscovering old Arkham Horror and discovering Eldritch Horror in the last 3 or 4 years and stuff. Yeah, they tell such amazing stories with kind of very, not loose frameworks, but like especially in Eldritch Horror, there is so much kind of thrown together from these story threads. It is ridiculous that a kind of consistently funny and cohesive story ends up coming from it. A game we're going to talk about in a bit always does that as well, and I don't know how it manages it. But yeah, LA1, it's another one that I backed that I think could be really cool. I think it's meant to be delivering this year. I think it's ones that like, I think that I've done it right. We'll have a link to the Kickstarter. Kind of, who knows how things are going to go, but I think where would it say? Rewards. August, yeah. If all things go to plan, maybe it'll be out this year. You've always got to add on like at least a few months, I think, with crowdfunding, but let's be optimistic and imagine that it's going to come. Right, that's going back the wrong direction. Next, Aridia, which I think is like, just depending on where you are in the world, people are getting this. This is great big box, sprawling exploration, big campaign territory, which I do love, and I'm always excited when another one comes along. while at the same time having to get rid of a lot of these big box things, because unfortunately there's never the time for it, and all these other new games have to be played. I do want to go back to ISS Vanguard, it's right there. But yeah, a lot of these things end up falling by the wayside. But this is like cooperative legacy, but it's like a resettable. Yeah, they're calling it Green Legacy. Yeah, take on a role, progress, level up, get all these new skills and things. We will, the world will be changing around you, different NPCs and locations and stuff. Hi, Rach. How's it going?
Hello. Okay.
Have you had a good day?
It's been okay.
What's your most anticipated game of 2025, Rach?
Don't know.
You'll find out when it arrives, won't you?
I'll know when it's around.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of big boxes arriving.
Yeah.
How do you feel that breaking news, Rach? Vlaada is designing a cooperative game.
That'd be interesting. Might actually play it.
Yeah. Design some heavy stuff. Well, thanks for dropping in, Rach.
Thought I'd just say
Why
hi.
don't you join us for the rest of the games and tell us what you think of them?
No.
Aridia is a great big
Okay.
box, great big adventure based game. Looks quite pretty. I think it comes with like painted. Does it come with painted minis, or maybe that was like a Kickstarter level you could back at? It looks pretty from the pictures that I'm seeing of. Is it arriving like in America and stuff? But this is one that it's good that you're here for. The arriving boxes were ordered decades ago. Here's one, Rach, for you to. I don't think I've mentioned this before. So Vantage is another from Stonemaier, but this is one designed by Jamie, who like is designed like Charterstone. Ultimately didn't work for us, but a great concept. Jamie designed like Viticulture, right? Tapestry, like the ones we like the most of Stonemaier stuff. Jamie's designing Vantage, which is a cooperative exploration game, like another kind of not legacy, but like we're sitting in an ongoing world. And so it's an open world cooperative adventure game for 1 to 6 players that has an entire planet to explore, with players communicating while scattered across a world. With nearly 800 interconnected locations on 400 cards and 900 other discoverable cards, the world is your sandbox. You begin each game on an intergalactic vessel heading toward an uncharted planet. After crashing far from your companions, you have complete freedom as to how you explore, discover, and interact with the planet. You view your location from a first-person perspective and communicate with and support other players, but you are separated by vast distances, so only you can see your current location. It's not a campaign game. It's completely self-contained with no expansions, just a few accessories. Think about that, Rach.
Sounds good.
Sounds exciting. That's like, it's not going to be very, very soon, right? Because Finspan's coming out this month, but I think it's later this year. Hey, where does Vantage rate in Rodo's top 25? You can find out on the Vantage page. But yeah, I think there's like a load of design diaries like going more in depth in this, but I'm staying like excited that far in at the moment. I'll find out when it comes out. I'm going to be exploring a world in first person, Rach.
We will. Happy New Year. And I am tired, yes.
Yeah, Rach
I'm
has been,
tired.
Rach has been
Literally just come home,
Yeah.
stuck in traffic for an hour.
driving on a motorway in the dark.
Tom's only talking for another 5 hours. That's not very long.
Yeah.
I had to then hear some more
Yeah,
after.
Rach can hear the digest of all of these things.
I've heard this already, and I'll
We
hear
went-
it again.
We went in depth talking about all of Vlaada's games.
That's
So
literally
some
your
good
job,
games. Well, yeah, it
though.
is.
Talking about games, that's what you like to do.
It's like Vlaada's first game since Codenames. We remembered.
Yeah.
And that Codenames was like 10 years ago this year. Strange, isn't it?
Yeah,
Been playing games for a long time now.
long time. Right, I'm going downstairs.
Okay then. Enjoy
He
your game.
should go make me dinner, but he's with you guys.
Yeah,
so
bye, everyone.
Enjoy him while you got him.
Bye everyone. You won't find out about the rest of the games now.
Right, bye.
Bye. So we talked about Vantage. Very excited for Vantage. Then, I think we mentioned this earlier on. Horror on the Orient Express. I'm very excited about this. Like going back to the Eldritch theme, but this is going to be a very different game to the Arkham Files ones. So there is part of that that cooperative thing. We are on a train, and there are eldritch things emerging that we'll need dealing with and fighting and all of that stuff. But at the same time, there is a murder mystery happening. Essentially, we're on the Orient Express. Like, there are several. These are the player boards, and you've got different powers and stuff that you can level up as you might expect. There are different train cars with different abilities and things, and it's kind of like a 3D cardboard train on there. I don't know if we can see like a kind of culprit thing. There is, like, you were trying to like find out of the people on this train. You were trying to find out like who is a cultist and who's making this stuff happen. So there's like these two things happening at the same time. That seems really cool. The designer, or co-designer, I should say, Adam Kwapinski, is responsible for Frostpunk, is what I'm thinking of, but also it's designed Nemesis that people are really keen on. I'm not so keen on Nemesis. And co-designed by Michal, who has designed Destiny Jetpack Joyride. Hey, that's what I'm excited about. You can keep your Nemesis. Jetpack Joyride was amazing. Destiny's was really cool as well. Which is some cool stuff. Hey, I'm even more excited about it now. I would love a kind of Jetpack Joyride minigame of placing polyominoes in real time, trying to get from one train to the other. But I don't expect that to be in there. But yeah. Cooperative deduction in a kind of different style as well. Like, you're on the Orient Express in the 1920s, taking a dangerous train ride into the realm of the Dreamlands. Everything's against you, from monsters attacking the train to murderous cults hiding among the passengers. Worst of all, an eldritch, bloodthirsty vampire hunting down everything that moves. Can you solve the dark secrets of the Orient Express before the time runs out? Try and survive. You must hunt out the cultists to stop them performing a hideous ritual and ensure the train reaches its destination. Control a character who can develop new skills, find clues and all that stuff, learn spells. And it's the first one, so it's published by Chaosium, who are taking this big step into board games now. They publish all of the Call of Cthulhu RPG stuff, which I've never played. We've had a few smatterings, but I've never properly played an RPG stuff. If I was to play an RPG, I'd want to try Call of Cthulhu, because it seems really cool. But yeah, they have a board game division now. It's a pretty strong start, I think. There's also another one that's like coming in the near future, I think. Is this going to have all of the RPGs and stuff on it? And they published like original Arkham Horror. I've never played the first edition of it. But there's another... It's not like the same style. It's a Call of Cthulhu based game. Miskatonic Tales. I've been seeing a few things about that as well. And I saw like it's a kind of more choose your own adventure thing. I saw it being played at Essen, but I never managed to swing by when there was a space available. A storytelling board game that transports you into the realm of Cthulhu mythos and confronts you with forbidden knowledge waiting impatiently to be discovered. But yeah, more of a... It's still like cooperative storytelling, but it's more of a choose your own adventure style experience. I don't think that'll be coming. That's coming to crowdfunding this year, but it's probably not going to come out this year. We are nearing the end. Hey Thomas, how's it going? Exactly. Co-op and deduction. That's all you need. And yeah, everyone going mad in the process. Right. Galactic Cruise, which is another one of the few that I can speak about having played. I can't remember, was it like a third of a game or something in a demo at Essen, taught by Paul Grogan. This is so good. This is like I probably said all of this in the After Essen video as well, but it feels like it's got some of that feeling, some of the mechanisms, the thought processes that you would find in a Visa Lacerda game. But I don't know about that weight number. That's a bit strong. Maybe it isn't. There's a lot to think about, but yeah, it's a bit more accessible, a bit easier to get to grips with than many of the Visa Lacerda games. So this is, can we see like a picture with it kind of all together? There's a beautiful deluxe like collection. There's playmats with things cut out and stuff. Basically, you are running a galactic cruise. People want to go on cruises through the galaxy. Has this picture got a load of different bits in it? They're player boards and things. I was hoping to see like the main board populated with things. Here's the main board not populated with anything. So we are trying to build these shuttles up to send people off on their galactic cruises. There are actions put into all of these areas. Can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can. There are action spaces in all of these bits in the middle over here. And so you will place a worker on one of these pairs of actions, and you will get to do a selection of the actions that you've placed next to, but you can also put these cogs out in these spaces around the board, so you can choose to take actions where you've placed workers, but you can also choose the actions that are adjacent to these cogs over here. There are these abilities that end up at the top of the board that will give you game-changing powers. You can put cogs up there to give you access to those game-changing powers, like maybe not having to pay. You can use other people's cogs for things as well. So like you could potentially be a person that doesn't go in for all of this development and trying to get all of these cogs and things up. You don't need the special ability. As soon as somebody has access to it, if you've got a good economy going and you don't mind giving them some money, you can pay them to use their ability. You are building up like different sections of the shuttle, different rooms to put in it that will attract different kinds of guests. You are selling tickets to get guests in. There's so much going on here, but it is it's so smoothly done, beautifully like I was going to say articulated, like pun intended, like an art pun. Ian O'Toole did the artwork and graphic design for it. It is beautiful. It comes together so well. Like we played it with all of the fancy deluxe things, of course, at S, and you can see some of the like wooden pieces and stuff there. This is so good. Like it's another one that I know I haven't played like a full game of it, and it was like in a demo situation as a full player game. I'm so excited to like see what the solo mode of this is, to give it a go playing with Rach as well. I feel like this is going to be, and I imagine a lot of people are pretty buzzed about it. This is going to be one of the big hits of the year, and it's almost here, right? I think it's in the next few months. This is going to be arriving the next couple of months, something like that. As Kinson Key Games have published it, but Dranda Games are like distributing it in the UK as well. So yeah, I'm very, very high on the priority list to do a playthrough of Galactic Cruise, and it shouldn't be too far off. Just like something else that should be arriving fairly soon is The Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era. It's a great big box. It's a campaign, right? Well, like, no, it goes over several sessions, but I don't think like a completely ongoing thing. This is Chip Theory Games, and I've heard it described as like well, I've actually heard a mix of people saying that it's like Too Many Bones 2.0, and that it's like a mix of Too Many Bones and Hoplomachus. I haven't played Hoplomachus, but I've heard good things. Maybe I'll get to try it at some point. Mixed together with the Elder Scrolls lore and stuff, I'm completely on board for this. I cannot wait to play this. Yeah, each adventure takes place over 3 gameplay sessions. Sessions being about 2 hours plus half-hour per player in length. So big ones. It might be one that I'm playing like solo. We'll see how it goes. Maybe Rachel's up for it. But yeah, set in this particular era of Tamriel. Hey, I played loads of Skyrim. It's not my fault I came too late for Oblivion. I've missed out on some stuff. I know some Elder Scrolls things. But yeah, I am up for the world. I am up for the kind of like skill building up stuff of Too Many Bones. However it combines it in there. It's another one that like, it's enough to know that Chip Theory Games are putting something out, but also that's like, it's built off something that I really enjoyed anyway. And I'm always tempted to kind of dip back in and go all in on something like Too Many Bones, but I'm hoping that like Elder Scrolls will scratch that itch. I've seen like you can go on you can go on Kanjay's channel, and Derek has a like almost final version of it, and you can see him stream it with that. Paul's done stuff for it as well. But yeah, very, very excited. It's like, I think people are just about getting it in America, and maybe they're about to get it in the next few weeks in England too. Very, very excited. Exactly, Skyrim for the win. Unfortunately, I could never get hooked into Oblivion after having things smoothed out in Skyrim. After having it more Fallouty in Skyrim, I couldn't go back. Because yeah, Morrowind's supposed to be the one, right? People of Morrowind, my friends all loved Oblivion, but I came too late. I was too used to the creature comforts of Skyrim and that, which also was ages ago, wasn't it? When did Skyrim come out? Like 2010? God, things were ages ago. Probably not quite that long ago. 2012, something like that. Anyway, I think we are nearly here with two entries that kind of go into one entry that probably isn't going to deliver this year. So maybe Elder Scrolls is the end of the list. Because I am going to mention the thing I'm most excited about that I have backed is a double whammy of more Shadows of Brimstone, which I've talked about. Like, when did I talk about it? It was like the top 10 of 2023, wasn't it? When we talked about like the Viking things and just it as a concept, because it was the year before last that I first got it. Shadows of Brimstone is one of my favorite games. It is completely like to try and put you off if you're not familiar and you're into your Euro stuff. It is completely dice chucking, and there is choice, there is strategy and stuff into it, but more than any of that, there is dice chucking. There's roll to move, there's roll to hit, there's roll to wound. There's so much dice in this. I have done a few episodes of a playthrough where you can like see it in action, but kind of I think I'm repeating myself here of saying there is so much random dice chucking and card drawing and stuff in it that somehow it manages to balance all of that randomness out, and not only has like a satisfying gameplay experience, but also makes an amazing story. And kind of similarly to how Eldritch Horror does it, it's not like entirely it's not encounter based like Eldritch Horror, but it's like you will go into a room and often there will be a card to draw that will say there is this thing in this room, we need to do this test, and we will get some text. And like Shadows of Brimstone somehow manages to have every time this kind of exciting story, and so many things crop up in these random cards that you're drawing, whether it's the gear that you're finding, whether it's those events that come up, or the enemies that you tend to find that like you can see it happen even in like the few episodes that I did of that playthrough. Like it's partly like just the human thing of wanting to recognize patterns, but it comes up with these satisfying stories so often based on just a big pile of randomness. It is crazy that it can do that. And like, obviously, with it being random and stuff, I'm sure some of that's accidental, but whether it is or not, it's what they were going for. Anyway, Shadows of Brimstone is so good. They had a big Kickstarter, I think that was a couple of years ago now, and it's projected for this year. Who knows if it will deliver? So the way it kind of works is you need a core box. This is going to be 2 new core boxes that you can choose from. And they've got like, the original one is like Weird West. So you play as characters from the Wild Wild West, but the enemies all, you know, like tentacles and eldritch things. And then they did Forbidden Fortress, which is a feudal Japan setting. So like the characters, the locations, the enemies were all Japanese theme, but you can mix it all together if you want as well. And then the most recent one they did was you could be Vikings, which I really enjoyed, or you could be conquistadors. Keen on that one, but hey, the enemies all plug in. And the most recent one that they funded is these two here. So this is Cursed Tombs of Kavantet, which is kind of the closest to Fortune and Glory. That, like, it even says it, a little reference in the description there, that you are 30s pulp heroes that are fighting. Like, the other world is like the human world is the, you know, tombs of Egypt and stuff, and the other world is this sunken city of Pharaohs. So like you can go to all the other worlds from these little packs you can get. There's one that's like the Cabinet of Cinder is like a hellfire kind of place. The derelict ship is like this huge spaceship that's been traveling around the galaxy for hundreds of years and everyone on it's dead and stuff, but hey, maybe there's monsters that aren't. But yeah, a kind of Indiana Jones theme on this, but like that links in thematically as well. It's got, I think, some characters from Fortune and Glory are emerging in this, one as an enemy and stuff. It's so cool, especially like if you're a fan of all of those different things, it links together. So that's one of the boxes, and there's going to be a load of like expansions and stuff, I'm sure. The other box is back to that Old West, the Impossible Hell Train, I don't know if there's a load of pictures. Oh, there's some pictures of this, and you can see like, hey, there's cool minis for all of this stuff, painted more beautifully than I can ever paint. I just have to forget those pictures exist when it comes to me painting it. It's a load of concept art and stuff, but you can find on the Kickstarter page they do updates all the time of how the actual stuff is coming along. So there's not going to be a ton. There's going to be pictures of enemies and things on here, but like it works in the normal game works on map tiles and stuff. Hey, here's some Egyptian enemies that you can fight against. So yeah, you'll be exploring through all these various map tiles. On the Hell Train though, the tiles are the train carriages. Hey, going back to Orient Express, kind of. That's all kind of linked together with the... I don't know, what are things that link train cars together? So like it can adapt to your table space and stuff, but the train is moving, so there's like mounted heroes. So your heroes can be on horseback as well, and there are mounted enemies as well that'll be like racing around these trains. And the other world is like the Hell Train version, so like enemies will be coming through the gates and things. It sounds so good. With the delays that have been in the other Kickstarters, I don't know if this is going to deliver this year. It might be a bit wishful thinking. It's the first one that has happened since I've heard of Shadows of Brimstone before, like I was into giving it a go. But since I have like been into it, this is the first proper thing that has happened for it. It is so good. Sprues, yep, it is full of sprues. And I found actually like I wasn't a huge Warhammer player, but at one time, hey, I had a Lizardman army. Wasn't that big. It wasn't very painted. They used to always moan at me in Games Workshop because I hadn't base coated it all. At least you need to at least base coat your figures if you're going to play it in here. I've got time for that. I try to play it. Yeah, Games Workshop was always very sprue, and I think that's kind of their ethos of it. I do think like, yeah, it is the only thing that I have I think even Games Workshop stuff now comes like, it kind of like plugs together and stuff. I don't know that for a fact because I don't play Warhammer or if playing any other co-op stuff. But yeah, Shadows of Brimstone, it's worth knowing in advance. You got to cut stuff off sprues. You got to glue the figures together. Even if you're not going to paint them, there's like assembly and stuff required in these games. And probably the biggest warning and most important warning is, if you get it and like it, it is such a big rabbit hole that you can fall into. Like, this game has been going for a long time. Like, it is like 2013 or something. Original Shadows of Brimstone, 2014. This game has been out for a long time, and like 194 expansions. They aren't all like, so an expansion could just be, that's a new character you can play as, and it's the Dread Outcast. They're normally like an enemy, so yeah, you can play as them. These are like a load of the Kickstarter extras, I think. So sometimes an expansion is just a new character you can play as. Sometimes it's like a load of enemies. Like that's quite a big one. Sometimes it's just like sometimes it's just one figure, like a great big figure like that, but one figure all the same. So like in those, sometimes it's cards as well. It's a pack of cards that will add to like the bad things that can happen to you, or I can find one. Oh, like a load of them are promo cards as well. Like I don't know if you can filter them out. I don't think you can. And just say like how many actual expansions. There's not 200, but there's a lot, and it's not cheap and not that available, depending on which things you want to get hold of. So bear that in mind. If you're someone that needs everything for a game, when you get into it, Shadows of Brimstone is one that you might want to avoid, because there's a lot, and like some of it's Kickstarter based. I think there's stuff like from the first Kickstarter they did for that very first game that you still can't get, like that still hasn't come out, and some of that's come out and hasn't been available because they're like, it's just them that make it, and you can only make so many things. But yeah, I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited as well. I'm a bit gutted that I've been saying this for probably about the best part of a year, that I'm gonna do more Shadows of Brimstone. That series is gonna continue. It's still my intention, like the latest intention, that I'm gonna do all of this stuff, and then I'm gonna be able to have a couple of weeks in December, and that's what I'll film. It didn't end up happening. Other stuff got in the way. So yeah, I haven't got a time frame for that, but it's not going to be this stuff. but the Shadows of Brimstone stuff I've got, I really want to carry that on because I had such a good time playing it, and it's been quite a while since I've played any Brimstone things. The last time was we played a ton of the Viking thing, the not City of the Ancients, the Valley. It's not the Valley either, is it? What's the Gates of Valhalla? That's the Viking one. But yeah, it's so good. There are so many amazing things coming out. Well, I don't know that they're going to be amazing, but I kind of know that they're going to be amazing. There's so many cool sounding things coming out, and I've got experience of like you can kind of say, "Hey, Rebuilding Seattle was amazing." A sequel from the same designer and publisher. Got pretty high hopes for that. Like, designer's got a great pedigree. I'm going out on a limb. There's no downside of saying it's going to be great, is there? So yeah, I'm very excited. And as always, like at this stage of the year, especially Euro-wise, they won't announce loads of those games until well later in the year. There's going to be tons of stuff like announced for Gen Con and Origins and stuff. There's maybe going to be a few things announced for the Expo. I don't know about that. Yeah, if they want to do a Shadows of Brimstone, I'm up for that. I'm up for that crossover. Don't know how it would work, but there would be a lot of sprues involved. I'm up for it. Yeah, there's a lot of like. It had always been kind of. Was it last year? When did they do that co-op expansion? Was that last year for Lorcana? That had always been a thing of like, because I don't like any fighting in games at all. Even though I used to play a bit of Magic, like I'm glad that all of those trading card games are like that because it means I'm not interested in them. And then when we did, when that expansion came out, I think it was last year, the Ursula expansion for Lorcana that made it co-op. It was a dangerous rabbit hole because I started buying Lorcana things. It's like, oh, it could be co-op now. Like I can get it all, and like I'm a dangerous obsessive when it comes to that stuff. Luckily, didn't go too deep. And got out when realizing, oh, they actually don't seem to be running with this co-op thing, and they're just going back to boring old fight each other. Let's make these cute characters fight each other. Why? We could cooperate against the villains. It's perfect. Well, they don't seem to be that interested in it. So that's my 25-ish. We've talked about a load more, haven't we? Games that I'm dead excited for this year, and we're going to be playing. We're going to be playing some of this stuff quite soon as well. Like, I don't know when Captain's Chair is going to happen. There's some discussions involved in that. But what is, outside of these anticipated ones, what is coming top of the January vote? Because I haven't looked in the last couple of days. Last time I looked, I think it was Lisboa. Because we're going to be playing something next week. It is... Oh, Pathfinder's still getting disappointingly low votes. That's my personal. I'd like to give the revised Pathfinder a go, and the Reckoners actually. But Lisboa is winning, so I think we're going to be playing Lisboa next week. Which, hey, that sentence got gobbled. I think we're going to be playing Lisboa next week, which I haven't played for a few years. I think so. I'm pretty excited about that. Maybe more Civolution, maybe some Dwarf Romantic. There's some cool stuff happening. We'll get back to playing some live games next week. There's still pre-recorded stuff to come. There is another episode of Cthulhu Death May Die coming up on Sunday. I am hoping for patrons to have an early look at the next episode of Metal Gear Solid, because the ones I've done, they have been quite short. They have only been tutorial things. And I myself, that's all I've played of the game, is those 2 stages. I want to see some more stuff. I want to see Meryl. I want to see a fight. I want to see Ocelot. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully be filming that, and hopefully we'll see that on Sunday. But there's been a few things interrupting the schedule this week. It's still like not fully back in the swing of things yet, but hopefully next week is the week. Lisboa is so good, and yeah, it's just one of those things that it's been a while. It's partly as well because I keep going like I think in the past couple of years when we've been revisiting Lacerdas, there's been a lot of like, oh well, why not do Kanban again? Why not do the Gallerist again? That I think is still my favourite solo one is the Gallerist. But yeah, Lisboa is so good. I'm excited. And Speakeasy at some point. I don't know in what form that will take. And I'd like to. I still haven't played Inventions. It's not a 25 one, but yeah, I want to play it. So yes, thank you everyone. Have lovely evenings and that. Hope you play some lovely games. I will see you pre-recorded on Sunday, and we'll be live for some, I think, Lisboa next week. Stay tuned on Patreon. You can support me on Patreon and help me do things in the channel. Thanks to everyone that does. It's how I'm able to do this at all. Yeah, I will see you soon. Bye, everyone. Bye, bye, bye.